Hello. Hi, everybody. Oh my God, there's so many of you. Okay, so the advancements and adaptations we need to make in order to stay successful in real estate. Okay. Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away, purchased with common sense, paid for in full, managed with reasonable care. It is about the safest investment in the world. Not only do you have to have context in your digital and inbound real estate marketing strategies, but context that gets an LOL, gets read, gets noticed, shared, liked, and commented on. This is how you make a human connection in today's noisy and multi-diverse world. All right, CRMs. Anybody here use CRMs? Okay. 40% of agents are using CRMs, but 90% of top producing agents are using CRMs. See the difference? Do what top producing agents are doing. Does anybody want to tell me, sorry, I like to be intuitive and like kind of get to know people. Does anybody want to tell me, even though there's 5 of you, does anybody want to tell me any of the CRMs they're using? Okay. Infusionsoft? Okay, all right. So, CRMs are one of the cheapest forms of advertisement. Most are a monthly fee and are very productive. Remember, in any relationship, give first, ask second, and receive. I think that's really important because a lot of people expect that they're just going to dump a name into a CRM and they're just going to get back whatever they were giving out 10 years ago, and it doesn't work that way. In order to, be successful, you have to make a meaningful relationship with people. Oh, sorry, hold on, let's go back. I was supposed to talk about this. Okay, they're helpful with digital marketing, relationship development management, connecting with former clients. Life is harder, so let's make it easier. Being a real estate agent is really hard. How to make this sort of technology meaningful, a meaningful connection, as we just talked about. It's the most cost-effective form of advertisement, and that is true because most of these, some of them cost, we'll be talking about one of them, it's like $550 a month, but there's some that cost $39 a month, and it does a lot of work for you so that you don't have to constantly worry about, am I touching base, am I doing my 15, I think what is Keller Williams makes you do like 15 calls a day of clients. So anyways. Okay. CRM's worth considering. Top producer. Anybody use top producer? That's a pretty common one. No? Zoho. Market Leader. Market Leader is an NRT program. It was founded by Coldwell Banker. And it's pretty common as well. LionDesk is pretty common. My favorite is actually, somebody had said it earlier, Buffini and Company. I know a really, really big agent, and she does mostly $1 million range, nothing, not in middle America, but in normal America, a very, very normal house in California, $1 million, single family, and she does about 30 of those a year, and she uses Buffini and Company. And I also use, you can use these for a year, see what they're doing, and put them in a database on your own. You don't have to pay $550 a year. If you know enough about what these companies are doing, you can do them on your own. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but it's not, you don't have to pay $39 a month or $550 a month for, years and years. Some people do. Okay. I think we're going to talk about advertisements, do's and don'ts. So budget wisely. Don't put all your money in one company. Quality leads. There's a few companies that I think real estate agents will be familiar with, which is like Zillow, that you pay per lead or you pay for a certain area and you're guaranteed a certain amount of leads. And I think if anybody can yell out what kind of leads they give you, are they good leads? No, they're junky leads. So referrals, word of mouth will always win. And if anybody's been doing this a while, they can tell you that the most effective and cheapest form of advertisement is word of mouth. So anyways, sometimes the greatest and most expensive investment is your time. It takes time to do all of this. It takes time to connect with people. It takes time to, even using these softwares, they're simple, they make it easier, but it still takes time, and it's still an investment. It's still going to pay off in the long term. A little bit about me. I started real estate when I was 18 years old. I am now 22. Just kidding. I made my entire business off lease listings. That sounds crazy. Why would you do that? You're not going to make any money. I did it because nobody else was doing it. Nobody else wanted to work for their money. Not to quote Kim Kardashian. But it's true. Nobody wanted to make 6% off a year's lease listing. And the thing that everybody wasn't getting is that I was building relationships as I was doing that. So I had a house, things clicking, but it's fine. This is, I had a house. My first ever listing, not listing, I represented the lease. And I leased him a house. He was an interesting guy, a little difficult. I leased him a house. A week later, I got a phone call, and he said the house across the street, because he was building a huge home, a McMansion, the house across the street went for sale across from him, and he wanted to buy it. And he said, I want to put an offer in on that house. And before you know it, my first real sale was for $1.3 million in West LA. That house is now worth $1.9 million. I went on to do 5 more sales with that same client, all off one lease. So don't ever look at something and go, that's not worth it, I'm not making money, because the most important thing I gained from all of that was a connection. And at the time I didn't know that man was that wealthy, but it was a connection, and it wasn't a lost one, because I went on to make $100,000 off of him. So, okay, so I have facts here, and because I want to give you guys facts, and I think they're important. Mailers, they average about $1.50 per mailer. Most people farm 300 plus homes. How many of you use mailers? Okay. How many of you have actually can say that you've had success from mailers? Other than notoriety and being noticed in the grocery store. My whole point is that $1.50 investment times 3 was way more than you'd spend for $30 a month using a CRM. And you're going to get way more out of it. And you don't have to be, I think I was just talking with that gentleman, you don't have to be in real estate to use a CRM. You can use it for any kind of business. So if you're a contractor, you're a developer, you guys can all use CRMs. The most important thing in real estate is staying in front of somebody's face. So, Okay, we talked about junk internet leads like Zillow. Has anybody actually had success on Zillow? You? How many transactions a year?
I advertise for over 3 months.
Right.
But I came from like a team where all the leads were sent to Zillow, and we did 160 transactions the year I left that team. So if you work, it is, but it's really expensive.
Right, and but out
point.
of that, how it's real expensive, and how many junk leads did you get? I mean, and not necessarily just junk. I mean, like maybe uneducated people calling saying, I want to buy a $400,000 piece of land and I want to get a loan. All the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It would be maybe like 5% of the leads, 5 to maybe 10, depending on how good you're at converting. They would be actually legitimate leads.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely really expensive.
It's really expensive. Facebook ads, I think we had somebody here yesterday talking about geofencing and Facebook ads. And by the way, these are all things I've actually done myself and tried and spent money on. So I'm just literally trying to save you guys from spending tons of money and getting nowhere. You'll have a nice tax write-off, but that's about all you're going to walk away with that. Geofencing is popular now, extremely. If it's done well, it works, but it's also very, very expensive. It ranges, depending on zip code and area and population, anywhere from 40 cents to $1 a click a lead. And half of those don't get, I mean, you'll see you paid for 300 clicks, but you've never gotten one phone call. That's $300. That's $300 you could have spent on a company like Buffini and Company, where you would have gotten something out of it. So there's dues. Let me see. I don't think, okay. There's advertisement dues. So there's active marketing versus passive marketing. Does anybody know the difference between active marketing and passive marketing? Active marketing is money you're spending every month to generate leads or to generate business, versus passive marketing is things you're doing every day that you don't even know you're doing. Talking to somebody at the grocery store about buying a new house. Maybe you put a business card in at the car wash. That's like a passive marketing thing that you would do. So yard signs, sorry, I had this written down. Yard signs are another form of passive marketing. Open house signs. When I first started in the industry to get my name out, I would actively sit any open house I could, even rentals. So I'd get rental leads. I used to do about 100 rentals a year. I would do rentals and I'd hold them open. Now, this is a catch-22, because some people do get angry because they run in there thinking it's a house for sale, and it's not, it's a rental. But, you know, once you get to know them and talk to them, they're actually pretty nice, and usually they come around and they have your card. And it's, when you see, most of you that live in areas know your local realtors, right? Okay. So if they're seeing your open house signs out every single Sunday, you're getting something that you paid nothing for. That was free. And I know I'm probably, I feel like one of the youngest people in the room here, but CRMs are great, and I highly suggest you use them, but there's also things you can do every day that make all the difference, that will build your business way faster and way cheaper than spending a bunch of money at Zillow. Bus benches are helpful. They cost money. That's not free, obviously, but usually they cost around $300 a year. And if you put them in the area you're farming, they're super helpful. Okie dokie. And like I said, sorry, this is kind of a broad topic that I'm speaking on, so I'm just basically telling you guys everything that I've ever done that I think that works. It may not work for you, but it's worked for me. Maintaining a schedule and balance. So, time management. Time management is something that either has to be learned or it's built into your personality. But most people have to learn it. And if you wake up every day and you mope around the house and it's hard to get started, blah, 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 instead of waking up every day, having a schedule, knowing who you're reaching out to, managing your CRM, going to the gym, and you have a regiment that you get into every day, you're going to be so much more successful. Using technology to help with time management. So once again, CRMs are a great way of using technology to manage your time so that you don't maybe have to make 15 phone calls that day. Instead, you can reach out to 5 people a day knowing that you've balanced your time well. I actually have a cute little fact for this. Sorry. Okay. Only 18% of people have a time management system. If you spend 10 to 12 minutes planning your day, you can save up to 2 hours of time you would normally waste. 2 hours a day. That's being stuck in the car, you can go, 2 hours at the gym that's really good. I mean, I don't go to the gym, but I'm assuming. Okay. So, happiness and relaxation. Happiness and relaxation. So it is, in my opinion, it's funny because I heard one of the previous speakers say, you need to, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, then you need to leave. I can personally tell you, as an agent that's been doing this for almost a decade, you're not going to be happy every day. That's not possible. It's just not, it's not going to happen. There are going to be very difficult transactions. I've been in escrow on $5-6 million homes and had them fall out, meaning I lost like $80,000. That's not going to make me happy. It's very important to realize what does make you happy, which is helping people. And that's what we're here to do. It's not always about the dollar sign, it's about the people. And this is a hard word for me, differentiating the two is super important. Now finding a healthy outlet is also super important. Friends, maybe you're on a bowling league, maybe you like to work out, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you like to go to the local bars. So anyways, and also I think a super helpful point is setting boundaries with clients. When I first started in this business, I let people run right over me. Call me day and night, cuss at me, scream at me, tell me I wasn't, good enough and I was too young and I didn't know anything. That same client I talked about that bought that house from me, loved to cuss and scream at me until I literally cursed back at him, and I told him if he didn't buy the house, I'd sell it to somebody else for a better price than even he was paying, because I had agents in my office that saw the pending price and they wanted that property and they were going to buy it from me. So I literally told him to F off and hung the phone up, and he signed all the DocuSigns. So what I mean about setting boundaries is don't let people run all over you, because they will. And it's important to take a stand for yourself because you're important. Another thing I like to do is, I really believe this truly, is celebrating every deal. Whether that means going to lunch, going to the beach for a day or whatever. You have to celebrate every deal because it's not an easy job to do this. It really isn't. People will sell it to you and tell you it's easy. It's not. It's stressful, it's hard, and it's important to stay in a good mindset. Am I doing okay? No? Good? Okay. Okay. So like I said, this is a broad term. So one of the things I like to talk about is threats to our industry. And one of the biggest threats we have are tech-driven, commission-cutting companies. Why is this important? I like to tell people this. Did you know one of the only industries, I say one of the only because there's a few, but one of the only industries that's never gotten a raise is a realtor? It's always been, it used to be 7% if you were really good at your job. Now if you're really good, it's 6%, and I haven't seen somebody get a 6% deal in a long time. The only thing that saved us is the housing market has continued to rise. Other than that, we'd be screwed. So I think it's super important to call out big companies like Closed Door and other companies I talk about, Red Bricks. They're long gone. That didn't last long. I also think and I've had this debate 1,000 times with people that have been in the industry for 30, 40 years. And it's the ones that have been in the industry for 30, 40 years that look at me and go, there's no way, those companies won't last, they won't be here. Maybe not in the luxury market because you don't want to leave your $1 million home just unlocked to anybody. How many of you have used digital key boxes? Almost all of you should be raising your hand because they're everywhere, yeah. It is not that outrageous to think a company can't hire 5 people in a room to manage all those key boxes and let them in and out of a property, and also check to make sure that property is secure. We have technology, we have cameras now, we have digital lock boxes. It's there, it's a threat, and we need to always, I honestly, for some of these companies, I wouldn't even show their houses back in the day. I would not show a purple bricks listing, a red bricks listing. So we all need to work together. Let me see. Sorry, I have facts about this too. These companies are low-end salaried agent jobs. So there's a big other company that's still around that pays their agents a certain amount of money every year to sell homes. And I guarantee you the salary they're paying those agents is not anything what you would want to be making to sell homes. And it's working. It's been there. It's still there. It, to my knowledge, is not going away. And what NAR, that's a whole other political conversation, but what NAR is doing about it, I don't know, because my money sure isn't being spent in lobbying these companies. The important thing to remember, though, is they don't have the money to sustain a quality product. And that is super important, because you're going to give your clients way more hand-holding than any of these companies can do. So when you're on your listing appointments and somebody throws a closed-door mailer at you, be sure you tell them, you're not going to get my assistance from that company. You're going to get somebody over the phone, doesn't know anything about you, doesn't know where your kids go to school, doesn't know what you do for a living or how far you have to drive. You're getting a robot. You're getting a person that's over the phone, that's paid to be there, and they're paid hardly anything. These also do tend to lead to a lot of lawsuits. I've had a lot of clients call me later and cry because they took closed doors, listing. They accepted their price, and then at the last minute to the transaction, guess what happens? They change the price. Well, how can they do that? They can do anything they want. They wrote the contract. You probably didn't read it. So I think that's super important, that we all kind of help each other. We all need to help each other and support each other and kind of help outrule these companies, because I really do think they are a threat, and like I said, I don't think they're going anywhere. Okay, do we have any questions? No? No? Oh.
Is it on? Okay, hello. So I'm your opponent. So I do, so I wouldn't, it's not a question, but more of a disagreement that it's buyer looking to prop, versus realtors who are promising, value of the property based on the MLS. So is deep.
Okay. I understand what you're saying as far as off-market listings go. Where are you from?
DC.
Okay. That's not allowed in California anymore.
Okay.
And that's not allowed in California for that very same reason. Because now, as a real estate agent, you have a fiduciary duty to your client. But a lot of people don't realize, or at least in California, like I said, I can't speak for DC,
Yes.
you also have a fiduciary duty to the other side. So that property should be being sold at market value, meaning that, so Beverly Hills especially, years ago, we had a bunch of clients that, I don't want to show my property, blah, 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 you bring me the buyer and I'll sell it. And that was very popular for a long time. It ended up ending in a bunch of lawsuits because these people later saw what homes were selling for when they were on the market, and they were selling for, in one case, over $1 million more than what that other guy got. So CAR turned around and said, nope, you can't do that anymore. So I understand your point of view, and I understand that, yeah, you have every right to get or to try to obtain a property at a discounted rate, but you have to remember there's another party on that other side, and they have a claim, okay?
Yeah.
So that's why the 15 lawyers that run CAR basically came to the conclusion that we weren't allowed to do pocket listings anymore. And in fact, in California, we actually, if we have a property that we know we're going to sell soon, we have to put it on the coming soon.
Oh, okay.
I'm not allowed to sell or lease anything without it being on the market.
And can you explain how do you work with homeowners that are in distress? And if you do, how does that, work with your, realty model?
When you say in distress, you mean maybe an active foreclosure?
Yes.
Or, yes.
Or
So,
a distressed property that
Right.
needs fixing?
I've sold those before.
Yeah.
We have companies, in fact, I think it was, I don't, she's not here, but one of the other realtors had pointed out, and this is a very common thing, this is at Keller Williams, it's at Compass, a lot of these companies now, even my brokerage, will go ahead and lend your seller money to fix the property up, and then they'll take it out of the closing with very few fees, like $500. It's less than any interest they're going to pay. Also, most banks will pay you 5% to short sell a property. I've yet to ever see a bank, if you're representing both sides, say, no, we will not pay them 5%. It's got to be 2.5 on each side, obviously. You can't, unless you're double ending it. But I've never not had a bank tell me that they wouldn't do that. Even if it's a short sale, I mean, because they know they're still going to have to pay an agent. And if it goes to an in-house broker, the broker made a deal with the bank. Most of the times, you'll see there's a very common agent in Beverly Hills named Joyce Essex, and her husband was the president of a bank. So lo and behold, who do you think gets all the FSBOs, or all the, not FSBOs, all the short sales, all the foreclosures? She does. But the bank is still paying her the 5%. So why not get all your money and get the client the best possible deal?
Well, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and with my model, you don't stick to the 5% or 2.5%. My commissions are based on what I want them to be based on how much we purchase the property for. It's not a percentage. It's
Right, but you
whatever
still
we-
have to pay the other agent 2.5%. By the way, I have 2 minutes, so we can go all day.
Okay.
You still have to pay the other agent 2.5%. I will not show your house. I have not shown property before at 1%. I will not show it. Absolutely not. Guess what? My time is worth more than 1%. And so is yours.
Yes.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? No? No? Are we good? Okay. No. Thank you, everybody.